While most lenders grind, Chris Piro, he grows greens, raises chickens, surfs at sunrise, and still funds billion-dollar deals before most people even hit snooze. From modular builds to hotel portfolios, church loans, cannabis, classic cars. Chris built a boutique powerhouse on the deals nobody else wanted.
I don't want to make a fee off somebody just to kick their pain down the hall. I probably could have, but I like to sleep at night, right?
A dad first, a lender with integrity, a renegade broker, rewriting what boutique lending really means. This isn't just about rates and points, it's about presence, passion, and doing business in a way you're proud to pass on. From street sweepers to sharks in Pismo, this is the Chris Piro Playbook. Welcome to Coffeez.
Right on. Thanks for coming down to SoCal here. Hopefully the drive was nice and we can make the best of it. Now, Chris, I like to start the show off the way I start every single show, which is, Chris, what's your morning routine?
A morning routine. That's actually on my list here to go over. I'm a routine guy, which we can get into that as well. Discipline is freedom, I always say. So I get up in the morning, do my big cup of cold lemon water, splash my face with cold water, just try to wake up first. So I don't hit the computer, the phone. Everyone says no phone or computer for an hour or two. I don't go that hardcore, but I start with that, have my cup of tea in the morning. I do like to get up early. You probably see, I don't know if you got my monthly mailers. I do get up at 5 a.m. I try to get my 2 hours in so I can get my day set up my team, and that way I can make my kids breakfast and hang out with them before they go to school. So I get my cup of tea. I'm not a coffee guy. I just can't work on coffee. I get too jittery. And then I sit down with my notepad. I write down my to-do list. So whether it's 3 items, 5 items, 10 items, I try to go through what's most important I need to accomplish. And then, kids' breakfast. Usually I'll make a workout after that. I've already gotten, at this point, I said about 2 hours in of work. And then breakfast, did a workout or a surf, or depends on how the tides are. And then, just hit it from there. So routine.
Love it. How close are you to the water in Santa Cruz? Right.
Well, I can see the ocean from my deck, about 0.8 miles, about 12-minute walk from my house.
Nice.
Yeah.
Gotta walk with the surfboard.
Don't walk with the surfboard. I'm a longboarder, so you guys can have your own opinions on that. I'm too old to be a shortboarder at this time of my life, but I like to go down. I have an e-bike, or I got a van. We have a B-class van that we took out during COVID with the family, so I can throw boards in there and go down. And in this industry, I just put in my calendar like surf like it's a meeting. And, if you have a big client, it's like, from 10 or 11, you call it a board meeting, right? I have a board meeting.
Love that. One thing I'm surprised at with Searchlight Lending is you've really built your business on like the difficult products. Now, what is it that makes you say yes to the things that like nobody wants to say yes to? Like nobody wants to work with SBA loans in the mortgage space. Nobody wants to do commercial. No one?
Well, good. You can send them all my way. And that's why, I think why we've built a niche. I think and I don't want to, say too much, there's a connotation that they're more difficult. There's a connotation that they're impossible, or there's different lingo, but a rate's a rate, LTV's LTV, collateral's collateral, right? So as long as you know what I always say, as long as you know what more than the borrower, you're an expert. So I guess to answer your question, why we say yes to it, I started by saying yes. So back in, I started in retail, did my whole shtick at the big banks, and then started my wholesale shop. And someone says, hey, I need an SBA loan, I need a construction loan. I don't know what the heck I was doing. And I said, great, I'll get back to you in 24 hours. Hit the Google, hit my network, called bankers and said, okay, I didn't even know what 504 versus 7A was at that point. And I get back to the borrower, and I'm learning as I'm going. And then you learn during the loan process, right? The best way to learn is to do the process. And by just getting those loans in, after 2, 3, 4, 5 years, now I'm the expert. And we can go more into like affiliate relationships and how I'm leveraging and monetizing that. But just by saying yes, and we could go into life, it's all about saying yes in life, right? You become the expert through experience, and now that's kind of what we're known for.
Now, in our research that we were doing about you, I saw that, you've done cannabis, you've done,
cannabis
churches.
loans.
Yeah, cannabis loans, churches, even airplanes and art. Like that is so outside the box. Art? How do you get financing on art? How do you get financing on
Yeah, so the
airplanes?
art actually does have to be held. A lot of the times these are high net worth individuals and they're non-recourse loans just based on their balance sheet. So we're not attaching anything to them. We're saying this person's worth $500 million net worth. We're giving them 50 million bucks. And same with the auto collection. We're not taking the pink slips. We're actually just going off their wherewithal and their net worth. We're assuming they're going to keep their net worth. So, if something does hit the fan, they have other assets that they'll liquidate.
So you use art, you collateralize the art, you collateralize.
No, I mean, we're not collateralizing it. We're not putting it, we'll insure it, but we're not like putting it into like my basement, in a lockbox, right? It's still where it is. And same with cars and, all that. I mean, the planes and stuff will have to have UCC filings, like business filings, but yeah, it's really going over the financial strength and net worth of that individual or entity.
Right on. So what's the most unconventional deal you think you've ever done?
I've done some funny ones. I mean, I did a street sweeper. I did an SBA loan for a street sweeper. We did a barge for the SF Bay that like dredged the bay. I've done 2,000 acres in Florida for a pre-entitled development deal. I could probably throw off. I was working on a hotel in Mexico with like Kenny Chesney and the Cabo Wabo tequila guy. So I like to work on. There's out of the box stuff that is kind of funny. I mean, I did the power exchange in San Francisco, if you know what that is. You probably look it up. So we had to do a walkthrough on that. You could look that up. I don't need to say what it was, but it was involves a gentleman's club kind of theme. But I really like the putting the deals together where it's syndication plus equity investors. They're not easy, but it's fun seeing it pull out of dirt, go vertical to permanent to sale or stabilization. And working with these people, they are professionals. They're developers and builders. This isn't I'm fix and flipping, and we do that. Don't worry, the one-off fix and flips. But these are people building large construction projects. We've done stuff in the billions of dollars and piece it together.
Nice. Now, being in the business 23 years, you've seen some funky stuff. What deal do you think still haunts you?
The deals that haunt me are always the ones where the borrower client either is just shopping you the whole time and is wasting your time, right? And I prefer when people are upfront and honest. And I try to be the same way. If I'm talking to an attorney or a doctor, I'll say, yeah, I'm getting a second opinion. These people put you through the ringer. And then at the end of it, they're like, oh, I'm going somewhere else. And then they disappear with no explanation. That just chaps my hide. It just be upfront and honest. It's a small lending world. It's just, I like to sleep at night. I like to have good ethics. Tell me you don't like how my face looks or the sound of my voice or my rate was terrible, whatever.
Don't disappear on me.
Yeah, just don't disappear. I mean, just be professional. I mean, we're professionals. We have families, like to sleep at night. We're all people. It's not like just because you're through the email or the phone that you're impermeable. It's just, be nice. And it's a small world. A lot of times they come back later and I'm like,
don't want to work with them again.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've had that happen quite a few times in my career as well. You came from big banks, right? Now, big banks teach you a certain way of doing business, the retail banking model, let's say. And I think big banks are even different than traditional IMBs. Now, what did you have to unlearn to really lead Searchlight in the right way?
I mean, the big reason I left was because I could not do the out of the box or the tertiary programs. I mean, they have a smaller box. So if you're dealing with the big banks, we all know who they are. They want this kind of program, this kind of product, this kind of borrower. They want deposits. They want banking relationships. They want credit card. They make the money on relationships. So, I hate turning deals down. I like to do the tricky ones. And really what switched for me was saying, I want to be able to do everything. I want to help this borrower out. And when I go to do talks at like affiliate shops, whether it's an EXP or a side office, I say The reason you want to work with a broker full service is if your buyer or seller, let's say they have a broker they're working with and they say, okay, I'm going to go to B of A and get a business loan. Well, that B of A person probably has a mortgage person that probably knows a realtor. You might have just lost your real estate relationship, right? You might have lost your transaction. So when I go into these affiliate relationships with either other mortgage offices or with realtor offices, I say we can do everything under the sun. And that way, when they come back, we track them in our CRM. What was the lead source? 2 years later, this buyer comes back or client and they say, I want to sell my home. I say, oh, this is from XYZ realtor. So I'm relationship, keep it in the family, keep it in the circle of trust. And I think that's really got to us to where we are right now is just, giving back, keeping people in, in the circle and relationship.
Now, you like to offer, your no doc loans, DSCR loans, stuff that like brokers, they don't like to touch, right? What take on that kind of fire, what's your take on that kind of fire, and how do you protect yourself from these funky deals?
I mean, I do lose deals sometimes that there is a less ethical broker on the other side, and I'm okay with it. If the person truly cannot afford their payment, or they're getting funky on their income, or they're, I'd say, here's an attorney's phone number. Let's go sell your property. Here's a realtor's phone number. Get a price. Like, I don't want to make a fee off somebody just to kick their pain down the hall. Like, I'd rather, and I have people come back to me. They're like, oh, I got a loan somewhere else. And I'm like, almost like, I'm sorry, but, I probably could have, but I like to sleep at night, right? I don't want to put people in a worse pain point. So I understand if there is a borrower that has bank statement income on a non-QM loan and they really show income, but if they just can't qualify for the property, or if they're behind on their current payments and I'm going to put them in a higher interest rate, how are they going to keep affording their payments just because I gave them, 6 months of interest, right? So I don't like to make things worse for people. You try to stay ethical. It's easier. Maybe the people, they need that check to pay their Mercedes payment or their house payment that month. And, you don't know what other people are going through, but I'd rather just, not make money on other people's backs and their equity.
Love it. Now, what's the most unconventional deal that you've ever funded? And what do you think it taught you?
Ooh, might take me a second when I come back around to that. But, most of my stuff that comes my way, because I did have the 9 years in retail, I'm kind of known with my retail buddies at the big banks as the out of the source guy. So, or out of the box guy. So most of my stuff doesn't fit into that box. So maybe the permits aren't in place yet. I love doing construction right now. We've done manufactured modular home. We've done, I really like doing business loans because you're helping a business expand. So we're doing some stuff right now in the fire burn areas right now, putting together investors, athletes, people that want to invest in the rebuild.
So you're doing true business loans, not DSCR, like actual business
loans.
It's not collateralized?
Well, these people are putting together a fund, then they're going to try to buy the fire areas and rebuild. So they do stick build off site. They're going to come in and build for cheaper than they can build on site. And they're putting together local people to help fund the redevelopment and the rebuild in the fire burn areas. So we're putting together, $100 million plus fund to work on that right now. So if anyone's interested, we're still having people come in, but there's, athletes, musicians, and we're putting together local people. So the insurance companies don't come in or the vultures come in and just snake these lots away from the community. So that's, I'm working on some pretty decently sized big stuff, and it doesn't always go through, but it still teaches you stuff. It still builds your network. You're still talking to people with high net worth. So even if it doesn't come together or they go somewhere else, and not always, especially on the bigger deals, we know they kind of, they don't always go through, but you're still learning during the process and you're getting contacts and relationships. So I just like piecing together big deals, whether it's bringing investors together, high net worth individuals, builders, people with experience.
Now, it's crazy because we were talking earlier, you got 100 agents and half of your revenue comes from these non-conventional deals. So you really have become this like niche lender, because I don't know anybody in the entire industry that makes half their money on funky products, where you just take basically the toughest deals and make a true, like a high income off of it.
Yeah, I mean, especially in this lower volume market, it's worked out really well. It's worked out well for our recruiting. It's a good value add when I say, everyone, I'm not saying everyone has the same stuff, but there's so many wholesale lenders out there, so much technology out there, CRM, AI, we can throw that around. But when I say you can come over here and you do multifamily, mixed use, commercial, special, assisted living, hospitality. So many times a loan officer comes over and says, I just lost a land deal. I didn't know where to take it. I just had a construction deal. I could have made X amount of dollars. So especially in this lower volume market, it's a good sales point and recruiting tool to bring over as agents. And it's kind of like a flywheel effect. The more we get, the more we're well known. I'm on realtor lists and offices out of the box guy. And yes, we do the conventional stuff, and most of our agents are 90% residential first. But that's the value add with myself and Searchlight is we can train them, whether we take it over as a referral or we take it over, and keep them on communication so they can learn, or tell them, the summary, needs list, what kind of applications. And that's kind of, like I said, say it again, the value add is that we have specialized in that, and now we're known as that. And I just think people can keep thinking it's harder than a conventional loan, but LE, CD, TRID, cool off, with all the new regulations, I mean, residential loans aren't that easy either these days.
Yeah, that's true. Now, I'm curious, like, what's the biggest deal you've ever done in this unconventional space?
I have a term sheet right now on a $1.4 billion deal. It's a bunch of flagged hotels, portfolio of 100 flagged hotels. So working on that right now. That's interesting because we are not actually, and we'll see if that comes to fruition. Not every deal does, right? But that's too big to even put on a balance sheet. So we're going to put that together in a bond and sell it right to New York. So yeah, a couple, we're doing 3,000 unit ground up here and there.
You've done something like that, 3,000 units?
Yeah. But our biggest funded loan is probably in the 250 million range.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're talking truly unconventional stuff, but like, do you still make 2 points on a $250 million deal?
I wish.
Or a
no.
$1.2 billion deal? Like,
No. And I won't say exactly what we make, but usually at that point, you're making an eighth, a quarter. Because most of these people can get institutional money or they have relationships with high net worth borrowers. It's almost like being in the broker space. If they have $10 million at JP Morgan or Merrill and they're an A paper borrower, they're going to get relationship discounts. We're probably not going to beat them on a super jumbo purchase loan. We can't win everything, right? So it's this kind of same thing with these high net worth individuals. A lot of times they're flying on private jets with these banks and maybe they have relationships with high up people. We're probably not going to win that, but it's still the tertiary products of people that maybe use up the credit at the bank or maybe have a blemish in their history or maybe aren't cash flowing, so we have to stabilize. So there is still a niche market for broker services. And I always like to use this, I hate to say sales line because it sounds salesy, but it's like using a contractor. You can get your own plumber, build a house, get a plumber, you can get a painter, you can get a tile person, right? Or you can go to a contractor, which is pretty much a broker, and say, okay, well, this guy trusts this plumber, he trusts this, painter. So we get the Home Depot discount. We know we're not dealing with the teller at the bank. We're dealing with the VP or president at the bank, right? So we have different rules, different qualifications, and we get preferred pricing to our relationships. So yeah, maybe you're paying us a fee for our services, but we're shopping around to hundreds, if not thousands of lenders, which most consumers don't have time for. And we're getting you the best deal. And it more than makes up for the fee that we charge for our services.
A lot of people talk about solutions-based lending, right? You actually live it. So what's your brutal rule for turning chaos into closings?
I mean, one thing I teach my team is really managing expectations. So if the borrower wants to close a private money owner-occ deal, which is a TRID loan in 3 days, not going to happen. It's a TRID loan, 12 days minimum, right? With cool-out periods. like day one, I almost treat it like a relationship or a marriage. If we're gonna walk down the aisle together, it's not gonna be that easy, right? I'm gonna need additional documents. I may need additional documents later. Don't yell at me. I'm here to help you, right? Because a lot of times you get in a deal with somebody and you haven't laid the groundwork for what the next steps are and what's going to happen. And yes, they may ask for additional XYZ. The appraisal may come in low. So here's what's going to happen, Mrs. Borrower client. I've done enough of these, thousands of these, and then I get the buy-in, right? If you really want to work together, I want to work with you to the end. Because if you're working with somebody else, tell me please, right? If you're dating somebody else, tell me please. It's such a relationship, and you want to get to the end with a borrower that understands the process. Because if you say, yeah, I'll close in 24 hours and the rate's 5%, it's not, you're gonna have a pissed off borrower, right? And it's bad for your reputation. Word gets out, especially in these smaller circles with high net worth individuals, builders, developers. So I'd rather break up day one or hour one than 3 weeks into the process and they don't like me anymore.
That's good strategy. It's good strategy. A lot of people just kind of cling on and then just get burned. Now let's dive into some of your initial passions. What's crazy, you're a chef at heart, broker by trade, right? Now, how does being in the kitchen sharpen your edge in the boardroom?
I mean, I'll start off by being honest. I've rarely worked in a kitchen. I did open a restaurant. As far as the passion side, on the business side of it, I guess to sell a story, because all my chef friends, I don't want them yelling at me that I wasn't in a crowded kitchen as much as maybe my bio says here. But I did open a restaurant, and it taught me a lot about delegation. It taught me a lot about people in different slices of society. Just about business ownership, right? Because we know mortgage. We grew it and lived it 20 plus years. We can do mortgage while we sleep. It's almost like we're in the zone when we do mortgage, right? But cooking for me is more of a passion. And I was going to go to culinary school in college. My parents, thank you, put me through a nice UC. I ended up finishing college. I went back to culinary school to start after my 4-year degree. And then my buddy actually brought me to a job fair, right in the mortgage boom, 2002 and a half. And I was in a suit, college degree, and I got an offer from HSBC that was way more than I expected. And I said, do I want to flip burgers and work nights and weekends and holidays? And I kiboshed the working in a kitchen idea. And then the rest is history. I was, platinum club at Wells, top 100 person. And I guess I was good at it. It paid the bills. It afforded me what I wanted to do in my life, travel and all those fun things. And then, I did have the bug still in me, the passion. I opened a restaurant, and I did make it through COVID. It was 4 years, but it's definitely the passion was gone, and that's a longer conversation. But I got it out of my system, and now I'd rather just cook for my friends and family and loved ones, because that way I can pick what I want to cook. I can relax at home. I can see the end product and the happiness and the nutrition and all that. I mean, I cook 6 days a week probably. It's like I can work 12-hour days, and the relaxing part of my days is put on some music, maybe have a glass of wine, and just cooking what I want for my family and loved ones.
Nice. What's your favorite thing to cook?
Anything on the grill, a barbecue. I got 3 different grills and smokers. Family loves ribs. I just made chicken wings last night. They love teriyaki chicken wings. We do sushi night. I get sashimi grade sushi and do it up. It's hard to get all you can eat sushi when you go out. We eat a lot, so especially when my kids get older. My kids eating like $40 of salmon sashimi, so I'll do lots of sushi. Yeah, and then we have a big garden. Like, gardening's kind of my zen as well, because I can be in a conference call with a client, have I have so much kale and lettuce and tomatoes coming on my ears. And come bring a bag by. It's a you pick garden. But yeah, the kids will eat like anything out of the garden they can get their hands on. So, but I like to see them, healthy, nutritious, and
that's awesome. So you're teaching them the garden.
Yeah.
Eat off your own land.
Yeah, I say go pick whatever you want. Whatever's in the garden, you go eat. It's good. It's like the blue ocean thing, right? It's like community, keep moving, and then like have your own food source, right?
So how much of your own food do you eat besides the garden? Do you have like chickens? Do you have
We do have chickens. My wife's in charge of the chickens. So we've got 10. We had 5 or 6. They had their run. They lost about 3 years while they're producing eggs. And we just got 10 more chickens this Easter. So, but that's my wife's department. So we share the gardens.
Do you have a full farm?
No, I mean, we have some land. It's enough. I mean, I do have a ranch, which is a different story, but that's that's a longer story. But we have enough, a 3/4 acre, so we have enough to feed our family of 4. So usually I'm buying some, meat and then having a big salad or kale, or I did broccoli this year. So I do all the greens and everything, and then I'll add some protein on the side.
It's awesome. You don't get that kind of land here in Orange County.
No?
No. I mean, we tried chickens for a while, but
You need like a rooftop garden here to be perfect.
That's a big thing in New York, right?
Yeah.
Now, Searchlight doesn't just like survive on niche lending. It's like it's dominating in that space. Now, what's one regulation or policy or trend you're actively pushing right now?
I might have to think about that. I mean, I'm not currently active. I was doing MBA and all these different events. I am networking groups like BAMA and stuff like that. So I'm really into. I think I talked about this before the cast here. Is I'm really into working with other broker owners, like-minded people. I'm an open book. I like to talk about, if my agents want to talk marketing, business planning, what books I'm reading, etc. I'm an open book. Like I meet with other broker owners as almost advisors, and I'm fine sharing information. What marketing is working, what marketing is not working. Here's my, contract XYZ. So I'm fine sharing that because I think, especially in this broker world, anything helps, and to have a trusted community where people can, have experiences, whether good or bad. It helps you guide the company, share business back and forth. If I can't do this property or that property. So I really like building a strong network of other like-minded broker owners and being able to share content and success and failures. I mean, sometimes it's a lonely, industry we're in. A lot of people are behind phones or still working at home, and to have a voice, or like I always say, my group, Searchlight, is a team or a family. When somebody dies, we know who they are. Somebody has a birthday, right? It's not just your NMLS MLO number. These are people with families, and you probably think the same thing. Sometimes you're like, wow, I have hundreds, if not more, people that rely on their whole, livelihood on what I've built or what I support. And it's, when I started this Searchlight, 15 years ago, I was probably the second youngest one in the company. And sometimes I'm like, there's these people's livelihood. They're putting their kids through college on the platform model, lenders, marketing that I put together. It's almost like sometimes it's exciting. Sometimes it's daunting, right?
It is. That's right. It's a lot of pressure.
Yeah.
Now, a couple last questions. Now, if you had to pitch Searchlight's model in one sentence to a burnt-out loan officer, what would you say would make them quit their job right now?
To keep it short, we have sources that will make you revenue for the loans you may be turning down right now.
Simple. Now, a couple last questions. Now, you've been fortunate enough to, basically establish a pretty successful business on your own. You're obviously a grinder. And I ask this question to all my guests. It's, how are you instilling that same grit, that same tenacity that you have in your children?
I prefer hustler over grinder, but maybe grinder has a worse term these days. I think the best way is just by, them seeing you work, them seeing you up before they are and working, them seeing you working out and, working on your health, because health is wealth. And without your health, we don't have the energy to work, right? So I think just by showing them, what you're doing and showing them success. And it's nice taking on vacations. I mean, I brought my family down here this week. I'm doing a bunch of people. I don't like leaving my family for more than 1 or 2 nights. I actually like my kids and wife, of course, honey. So it's like, I think just by showing them, even bringing them here shows me that, I can work and I have the life balance, because we could all make more money. We could all work more, especially in this business. No one's telling you to stop. And just by saying, okay, well, I went surfing with my kids this morning, even though I was up at 5:45 on vacation, plugging in so I could be ready, for meeting everyone today and, just my general office work. So just show them by example, I think is the best way to do it, whether I'm reading at night instead of watching TV, spending time with them, whether I'm doing Little League or driving them to sports or playing, we love board games and rummy and backgammon, just by living the right way that they see.
Love that. Now, what's a personal goal that you have for yourself, a family goal that you have for the family, and a business goal that you have for Searchlight?
Personal goal would probably be, just keep the work-life balance going. I think it's easy sometimes, especially in this a little tougher market, lower volume market we're in, to say I'm going to work more, but just having enough and being okay with having enough, because most of us in this modern world we're in have more than enough, and just being okay with that. I think over the last couple of years, I've stopped acquiring, I've done more divulging, time's more important than material wealth, and enjoying the things you already have, whether it's the garden, whether it's time together at the simple things. It's, just playing. I got like an adult Lego for me and my son. It's like a 2,000 piece adult Lego. The pieces are this big, and so that Japanese wave, and it turns into a frame that you put in the art wall. And it's like doing that has been so fun and relaxing. So it's really, I guess my personal goal would be being more present and just enjoying the things I already have and the things I've accomplished, which sometimes when that carrot keeps moving, we want to get bigger, we want to get more important. You're never going to get that carrot, right? And you're just disappointed. And the next one was business or family?
You can go in any order.
I mean, family kind of just goes into personal. It's just time, right? There's all these stats out there. You spend like 80-90% of your time with your kids before they're like 12 or something, if you count up all the time. So really just relationships with family. I have like the dad FOMO, right? I don't like to miss events and graduation, of course, but like sports and music and school, this and that. Like I like to, and which gives us in our business, we have the flexibility. Yeah. Being more or less self-employed, right? And that was one reason I left retail, because when I was retail, I was single, younger, it was no big deal. Hang out at the office, fun, whatever. But now I can cut out in the middle of the day if I need to see X, Y, Z, or if my kids are in junior guards in a competition, I want to go watch, right? No one's telling me when to work. And yes, I have to pay for it later by working, but just really, time with the family and it's being the best that I can be.
Yeah, it's like these times are fleeting, and I try to be there for every event myself. Even like now, I'm like not gonna be able to take them to jiu-jitsu at like 3 for a couple hours. I get dad FOMO too. I didn't look at it in that context, but it's so important to be at every single thing for me.
Yeah.
Last question: when you're in front of the pearly gates, what do you think God's gonna tell you?
Well, yeah, man, you finish strong here, don't you? I don't know. I think there are a couple of things. I always think back of that saying, you're never on your deathbed wishing you worked more, right? You want to look back and, my uncle told me this thing, you never remember every dollar you made, but you remember every fish you caught. And me and my son love fishing. So it's like, I think, to get philosophical, religious, whatever you want to call it, I think when you die, hopefully you die with your experiences and your memories. And the more you make, you can't take stuff with you, right? You can be buried with it, doesn't matter. But I think, magically to make it all seem like it has purpose and reason, you die with your experiences, your stories, your times, memories, right? So, yeah, you're never gonna die wishing you worked more. But but success is still there, and you need, you can't pay your mortgage with love, right? It's like, so there is, it all comes down to balance, balance. Hit that pendulum in the middle when it comes down to it, right?
When you say you don't remember the money you made, but you remember every fish you caught, like that hits hard for me personally, because me and my boys, we love fishing.
Yeah.
We just caught a halibut, like in a shark, and like my 5-year-old just keeps talking about the shark he caught. It's just amazing.
Yeah, he doesn't care if you got another 10 LOs recruited, right? He's gonna talk about that shark versus life. I actually caught a leopard shark in Pismo on Father's Day. So
Yeah, we did too. We caught a leopard shark. Was it Father's Day? No, the night before Father's Day.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that
Maybe it was the same one. It's our kindred shark.
Yeah, it's cool. He's like, won't stop talking about that shark. So I totally understand. I could care less about the money you make. It's like he'll always remember that first shark.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. I really like that that really hits me personally. Well, thanks so much. If people want to connect with you, how do they find you?
I mean, our website is searchlightlending.com, and email's always best. It's we can do Team Chris, because I do have a support staff. Team Chris at searchlightlending.com. And I think all my social media fun is on, maybe some notes, LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, which my wife's getting me more into, but I'm catching up. But yeah, I mean, this email's fastest. If you have a loan request or someone that out of the box stuff that you don't know where to place, or if you just want me to send our offerings or have a conversation, or if you want to talk about smoking ribs or catching fish, please reach out.
Cool. Thanks, Chris. I appreciate you coming down, and it's been great chatting with you.
Thanks for having me. It's been fun.